and how we work around them here at TCS. Attendance Part 2 focuses on the other half of the equation. Included in this presentation are the following items. We're going to talk about everything you need to know when it comes to intentional and planned time off. That includes all of the following scenarios. Everything from paid sick time off, or PSTO, to vacation and personal time off, or perhaps it's a major holiday we're looking at. Maybe it's a leave of absence, otherwise known as an LOA. And finally, we're going to talk about the golden rule. So starting strong, paid sick time off, otherwise known as PSTO. 3 big points to remember about PSTO. The first is that for every 30 hours that you work, you earn 1 hour of PSTO. Second is that you can earn up to 52 hours per year. And third is that unused hours roll into the next year. But once you hit the cap, you cannot earn more until you use some. So how exactly does that work? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that is what we talk about here. What can you use PSTO for? There are 3 big types of things that you can use PSTO for. First is any kind of an illness, whether it is physical or mental, and also an injury, but we wrap that into the same general context as an illness. Second is any kind of a medical emergency. And third is if you are dealing with something like domestic abuse, stalking, or sexual assault. Although, fair warning, for those three things, the domestic abuse, the stalking, and the sexual assault, documentation may be required, so just know that in advance. And a big overarching theme to remember for PSTO is that if you resign with a full 2-week notice, or if you need to avoid rollover limits, you may be able to cash out your PSTO. And to find out what that looks like, all you need to do is talk to the office personnel. Next up, vacation and personal time off. So the first question people generally ask when it comes to this category is, what if I am planning a vacation or need a personal day? That's perfectly fine. We completely understand. 2 things you need to know if that is your question. The first is that you need to request it off at least 2 full weeks ahead. You can do that via phone or in writing. And second is that requests during major holidays may be denied depending on staffing needs. The second thing people often wonder is what happens if you want to swap a shift with another employee? Well, that is an excellent question, and here is the answer. You can absolutely do that, provided that the following 4 criteria are met. First, it needs to be within the same payroll week. That means you and the person you're swapping the shift with need to have a shift in the same week. Second, both parties have to agree, you and the other employee. Third, you must pre-approve it with office management. And fourth, you must both be trained for the site that you were supposed to have the shift at. If all 4 of those criteria are met, you should be good to go. But it's always best to check with office personnel just in case. Next up, the one most people like a lot, major holidays. Now, a thing that is interesting about TCS is that we contract with different sites, and each one of those sites has its own specific contract. That means that the contract for the site determines what TCS can observe. Usually, you will get New Year's Day, Christmas Day, and a few others, you as the employee who's being sent to the site. This means, in turn, that if your contract includes it, you will get time and a half for working on those holidays. Best practice, as per usual, ask the office personnel for clarification if you're not certain how it's going to shake out for you on that site on that holiday. And hugely important thing to remember, even if it is a holiday and you're working overtime, there is no double or triple time. Then we get to leaves of absence, otherwise known as LOAs. Now, you may absolutely request a leave of absence for a personal, family, or health reason. But in order to use FMLA, you must have been at TCS for at least 1 year. You also need to remember that LOAs usually cap at about 12 weeks. Now, it is true that longer leaves may be allowed in special cases, but the going time is about 12 weeks. And finally, you must use any earned vacation time first before your unpaid leave can begin. And now we get to something I like to call the golden rule. The earlier, the better. As soon as you know, we need to know. And as far in advance as that can happen, that's the optimal option, because the further in advance, the more easy it will be for us to work around whatever schedule conflict is going to arise. Your final reminder, it's part A and part B on this one. So part A, for regular appointments, vacations, and personal time, you must request time off at least 2 full weeks in advance. Again, you can do this in writing or by phone. It's completely up to you. And part B is that you must verify with the office personnel that your request has been granted before you actually take the time off. Above all else, though, we want you to succeed here at TCS. We appreciate your hard work and your honesty, and we are so excited to have you as part of the team. So thank you for watching, thank you for being part of TCS, and have a fantastic rest of your day.